Hi guys, welcome back. So today it is the last Thursday of the month, so you know what that means. It's another National Parks Map video. It's one for the month of September 2025. I am in my car as per usual. And usually it's pretty quiet, but there is unfortunately, because I always find a vacant parking lot, there is unfortunately somebody, a gentleman in a car in the parking lot kind of doing donuts, but it's because he's trying to figure out something, like something's wrong with his car. So you might hear that. A lot of times if you have like a brake unbalanced or a wheel unbalanced, you can hear it by turning in circles quite a lot. So hopefully you don't hear it, but maybe it'll add to the ambiance. So today in our map series, we are in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. So this one is really close to my heart, and I think it's really close to the heart of a lot of people who live in the East and even Midwest. So I've been going to the Great Smoky Mountains since I was a child, like itty bitty. And I still go now, even as I get older. It is such a gorgeous place, and it kind of makes me upset to see how many people show up. I think there should be less people. But yeah, maybe I'll share some of my secrets that I know for the years and years and years I've been going. I mean, we go for like a week at a time too. So it's not like we just show up. We don't do any of the tourism stuff. Like, I know Gatlinburg is such a big thing for people. We rarely do Gatlinburg. Maybe to like pick up like some souvenirs or like get some different food or something, but we're pretty much to the park. So one of my favorite fun facts though about Smoky Mountains is that it is the most visited park in the United States, and that is because it is free admission. It is very accessible to a lot of people given where it is located. And it's starting to show that it's the most visited national park in the United States. It's getting very busy. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of that. So I haven't really been lately, but it still makes me very happy. I could live there and be happy with it. But yeah, so let's take a look here. It's a very large park, and it crosses from Tennessee into North Carolina, and it is along the Appalachian Mountain Range, specifically in the Blue Ridge Mountain Range within Appalachia. So, depending on where you start, of course, depends on what's accessible to you. Like if you were staying in Gatlinburg, you'd be most likely visiting from this area here. You're going to stay to this part of the park. But if you live in North Carolina, you might be visiting some of the more southern parts of the park. And it does look interesting when you have it laid out in a north-south orientation, because usually we're used to seeing it, fairly upwards. But it is because the mountains this chunk is very sideways in comparison to the entire Appalachian Mountain Range. So yeah. So we're going to start, I think, over here on the right-hand side near Cosby, Tennessee. And that is where we are really close to the Tennessee-North Carolina border, and it starts in Cherokee National Forest. On this side, you can see that park boundary kind of is in line with Highway 32, and it does turn into smaller park roads here along the boundary line. But over here we have Big Creek, which is a camp area, and Mount Camerer. And Mount Camerer is right on the state line, right there. So if you continue to come from Cosby, you could head east or you could head west, and either way you would be riding along that park boundary, either on 32 or on 73. Cosby does have camping. They have this nice big old creek here. I haven't spent too much time out in this area compared to the more western half of the park, but we'll get into it. And this is definitely more remote, more backwoods out here than it is over here, where there's a bit more civilization located in closer proximity to these outdoor areas. So along that state boundary line is the Appalachian National Scenic Trail. So that is also available here to hike. That is a bit of a hike. I don't quite know where it starts or where it ends, but I think it would be pretty, especially around fall time of the year here, September, October. But of course, just be bear aware, because they do not go into hibernation. It's too warm. So it's 321 or 73. Rides from Cosby pretty far into Gatlinburg. And it rides along that park boundary, and that's going to take you to some of the more accessible areas. So within Gatlinburg, which is located technically within part of the park here, you can take the Roaring Fork Motor Trail into this edge of the park. So you would start here on the more southern part of Gatlinburg, and you can hike it, you can walk it, you can drive it, you can bike it, whatever you want. It's very accessible. It's quite literally like where Gatlinburg ends. And you can loop around, see some beautiful waterfalls, see some historic buildings, and you come out on the other side back onto 73. Just to the east of that, we have that was a Mustang. So sorry. To the east of Gatlinburg is Greenbrier, and it looks like a horse stable. Horseback riding is very big out here. But from Gatlinburg, you get the best chance of crossing the park. And for this reason, it's actually a pretty common road that people use just to get from North Carolina to Tennessee if they live around these areas. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. So from Gatlinburg, you can take this road here, which is Newfound Gap Road. It runs along the Little Pigeon River, which is why it does so many switchbacks. Plus, of course, it works with the mountain chain. There are several places to stop along the way, especially if you come from Gatlinburg, starting with the Sugarlands Visitor Center, which is the park headquarters. So this is where you're going to get all your information. They also have a riding stable, picnic area, things like that. So this runs along the Sugarland Mountain, right up here. And you can continue and follow this road along Little Pigeon River and come up to Chimney Tops. That, I believe, is where the wildfire started back in, which I think they found out to be started by arson. Like, I don't think they thought it was accidental back in, 2015, 2016 or something. I think I was still in high school. But that is located here. That's a big part of the park, is Chimney Tops. And so this is a little picnic area information center just to the west of Chimney Tops. And that is something you can hike to. People hike to it often. There's probably a lot of pictures of it out there, so you should just Google it. And if you've been here before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, continuing along Newfound Gap Road, you can also stop at the Alum Cave trailhead. I couldn't think of the word. Alum Cave, that is a nice one, but because it is so, like, on the road, it's really popular. And then north of Alum Cave is Mount LeConte. Mount LeConte is 6,593 feet in elevation, and it's one of the tallest points in the park. There's a hotel up there that you cannot access by car. You have to hike up there. That's a goal. I do want to stay up there. I think it'd be beautiful. At least as far as I'm aware, and apparently it's not too long of a hike anymore. I feel like you can drive a little closer than you think to hike up there, because I've seen a lot of people say, like, it's worth it, just do it. I hope you've been able to see as much as I'm pointing out. I didn't realize it was sliding. So if you pass Alum Cave here, sorry if you heard my watch vibrate. If you pass Alum Cave, you follow this little, looks like almost a switchback area, and then you cross the state line. So Newfound Gap is at 5,046 feet, and there is a road that breaks off there, but it is closed in the winter. You ride along the Tennessee-North Carolina border for a little bit, and then you can get to Clingman's Dome. So you start at the visitor center that's in the parking lot. There's some like vault toilets there, and then you hike to Clingman's Dome. It's fully paved. There are bears, so I'd be wary. But Clingman's Dome, which is now called, that's how old this is, just last year they did change it from Clingman's Dome to the Cherokee name Kuohi. So I should probably be calling it that. So Kuohi sits at 6,643 feet and is the tallest point in the park. So the tower that you climb up allows you to get quite an amazing view. I've been up there after dark before to watch the sunset and watch a full supermoon rise. Unfortunately, we didn't have great cameras then on our phones, so we did our best. So south of Kuohi is Andrews Bald, which is another common hiking spot. And it's actually interesting, it's not written here, but we're somewhere here between the parking lot and the tower. There is the Appalachian Trail crosses, and it's actually like the highest spot. I think it's the highest point on the Appalachian Trail because it's like really close to the very top of Kuohi. So goodness. So yeah, I'm popular right now. So if you don't go to Kuohi, that is alright. Like I said, it is closed in the winter. I went back in the spring and we drove on a very foggy day. You could not see but 2 feet ahead of you. It's a very twisty, turny road already, but add in that experience, it feels like you're gonna fall off the edge of the earth. So you continue on Newfound Gap Road. You do kind of revisit yourself here. You now follow the Oconaluftee River. There's some picnic spots along the way, but you'll eventually get to Smoke Mount. That's a campground, as well as another horse stable. And that's a very interesting place too, but you can continue on past that. And Mingus Mill is off here on the west side of the road, and the Oconaluftee Visitor Center. Oh my goodness, I am so popular today. I have been to the Oconaluftee Visitor Center several times, and I've been to Mangus Mill, and there's a few other like historic buildings around here as well, because you've got the Mountain Farm Museum. So, from the Mountain Farm Museum, just past that, you are technically right on the edge there, and you can end up in, now that you're in North Carolina, you're now technically in the Cherokee Indian Reservation. And there's a couple different paths you can take. You can continue down 441, which was Newfound Gap Road, until you reach 74, or you could take Big Cove Road, which does re-enter, which mostly it does partially re-enter the park, but it's mostly in Cherokee territory. And that's just a loop that also takes you to Straight Fork Road, which is two-way and then suddenly one-way. That would be very interesting. I've not done that yet, but that takes you out towards Balsam Mountain. And that becomes, Straight Fork Road becomes Hind-Tuga Road, Round Bottom Road. Hind-Tuga Round Bottom Road. There we go. But it's better if you start on Hind-Tuga Ridge Road. It is closed in the winter because it is the one direction that you can take to catch up to Straight Fork Road. But to get there, you leave from near the Oconaluftee Visitor Center, and you can catch the Blue Ridge Parkway. That'll take you out. And I don't know if I think we've talked about the Blue Ridge Parkway, so I'm not going to cover it again. But that's going to take you all the way out there. All the way out to North Carolina. Bucket list. I've never done it. So, but yeah, let's continue on here. Let's go back up to Gatlinburg, because that's a pretty big starting point for a lot of people. So if instead of following Newfound Gap Road, you find yourself heading west along Little River Road, you will be fully within the park, and you eventually will reach Elkmont. Elkmont is a campground, and as you see here it says Fireflies in June. Elkmont is one of the best places to see the synchronous fireflies. If you've never heard of the Smoky Mountains synchronous fireflies, I highly recommend you look them up. If you've never heard of synchronous fireflies like at all ever, it is fireflies that flash completely in sync. And they only come out for a short period of time, and because they're so popular, these hikes out into the woods is quite literally on a lottery system every April into May. And we have tried for years now, and we have unfortunately not gotten to go. But it's definitely on the bucket list. And I know there are other locations for synchronous fireflies of different species, but this one, I'm pretty sure, is endemic to this area, which is why they're so important. I'm going to take my little water break here. Hydrate or dihydrate, even though we're coming up on cooler weather. Where I'm at, it's still in the 80s, so it's not really cooler weather, but you know. So, Elkmont is really neat. It's also one of the most popular campgrounds within the park. So, continuing west along Little River Road, you're going to come up at a crossroads where you can continue to follow Little River Road, which quite literally follows the Little River quite exactly. Or you can head north, and that's going to take you out to 321. But before that, you can pass the Little Greenbrier School. This is going to take you into Wares Valley. I'm going to let you in on my little secret, but I think a lot of people who frequent the park know this. Don't stay in Gatlinburg. Don't do it. It's expensive. It's so tourist-filled. There are people who say they come to the Smoky Mountains, and all they did was do Gatlinburg and maybe the Roaring Fork Motor Trail, and they have no idea that the rest exists. Or they do like the really popular stuff. So this, Kawohe, and Cades Cove, which we'll get to, and that's it. Not the vibe. Those people give me the ick. If you want a really relaxing and beautiful Smoky Mountains experience, stay between Wears Valley and Townsend. These two, even Walland as well, they're all very small. Stay in them. So, this is a quick way into the park. It's from Wears Valley, which it's Ware Valley, but we always say Wears Valley. I think that's a common thing among the people who live there, because I've heard it pronounced as Wears Valley for a long time. So, could be a typo, but I could be wrong too. But if you don't go to Wears Valley and instead you stick on Little River Road, you will reach another crossroads area. They are a bit far apart, of course, but you can take 72 into Townsend, which is another one I recommend, and that's pretty much where we stay when we go, is in Townsend. A very small town, very secluded, and very close to the very rural locations. Or you can head south and you can visit the Great Smoky Mountains Institute at Tremont. So this road here that takes you to that institute follows the Middle Prong Little River. I have not been out this way. I do not know what's at that institute, but probably research if I had to take a guess. Maybe one day I'll go check it out. So following along what is now going to be called Laurel Creek Road, it was Little River Road, you eventually come into Cades Cove Loop. I'm gonna make sure you can see that, even though it's a little off the side of the screen here. Cades Cove used to be so unknown, and now it is so insanely popular. So just be warned, if you're gonna go, good luck to you. So this is a one-way loop through a valley out here in this side of the park. This is your best place to see bears. This is your best place to see deer. This is your best place to see turkey. We have seen everything from bald eagles to snakes to bears to, you name it. Unfortunately, we also see a lot of taurons being assholes. So, it is quite unfortunate that it has been taken over. But, it'll just be car after car after car the entire, I think it's 7 miles. And it's sad. It's the problem with being a very popular park. So, right before you go into Cades Cove, Rocky Top, which is a nice short little hike there, can be accessed. And of course, in Cades Cove, they also have camping, more horseback riding, things like that. So, about a third of the way through the cove, and these are just like cut-throughs, about a third of the way through the cove, you can come up to Rich Mountain Road. This one is often closed in the winter. And this road is one way until like the very end it becomes 2 ways, because people live here on this part that is not located within the park. This part, however, is one way. It is unmaintained gravel. It's primitive, and you have to take a 4-wheel drive vehicle. They recommend Jeeps, full-size Broncos, things like that. It's just really beautiful, and it's Rich Mountain Road, and you are literally on the edge of mountains, where if you look down, the drop is pretty incredible. And yeah, it's nothing like the Rocky Mountains, because these are much smaller, but still, 3,000 feet is a far way to fall. So if you get the chance to do it, it is free, of course, but just know that whatever vehicle you're in does have to be legal on the road, because that is the only way to get out, is to take this part here, you can't go back. I have done it several times. I do recommend it. It's just really pretty. Even if you don't see bears, it's just so secluded. About halfway through Cades Cove, you're going to come across the, or I guess a little over halfway, you'll come across the visitor center. That's always cute. The money always goes to the park and to Cades Cove, so. The cable mill is up there. That's some historic buildings. And there's plenty of places within this park too, or within this loop, where you can get out and hike very short distances to see historical buildings, waterfalls, or you can take longer hikes too. But just after the visitor center starts Parsons Branch Road. That is closed to motor vehicles, so this one you have to hike. I think bikes are permitted, but it's recommended that if you're going to do it, you have to hike it. Now, they might change it every so often, reopen it to vehicles, but I think part of the thing is like it has to be maintained, so it's usually just foot traffic. And yes, that is a definitely bigger distance here than here. So just know what you're in for. But if you take Parsons Branch Road, eventually you'll come out on the other side on 129. And that'll also dump you out into Cherokee National Forest. So you are in Tennessee in Cades Cove as well as in Parsons Branch Road because the Carolina-Tennessee line drops pretty far south, straight down south of Cades Cove. There's some more hiking trails out there. You can take some roads here like to Gregory's Bald. And on 129, and this was 28, you can visit the Fontana Dam and 20 Mile. I have not been to either of those, but you can visit Fontana Lake. That one's a nice one. That takes you all the way out to Bryson City, North Carolina. On the other side here, you must take a road from Townsend out to the Foothills Parkway, which we'll talk about, in order to get to this area down here. Or you can go way around, take 321 to Maryville, take 129 to Chattanooga, and then take a few more roads to come out to Chilhowie in order to get to 129, or of course, walk to Parsons Branch Road. Up to you. But this is all in Tennessee here. So you'll be in Tennessee the whole time. But from Chilhowie, you can take a road here to Abrams Creek. Abrams is a very common name that you'll hear. There's Abrams Falls, which is, I think, within Cades Cove. That's also very popular. But Abrams Creek does have camping, and is pretty secluded. It is a dead-end road that ends at Abrams Creek, which, as you can see, does run into the park, or the part of Cades Cove. From Chilhowie, though, you do have a semi-quicker way to get back to Ware Valley. So, from Chilhowie, you can take what's called the Foothills Parkway. This is a very interesting ride. A lot of motorcycle riders like it. This is owned and maintained by the National Park Service, which is why there's that green outline around the whole thing. And it is some of the prettiest views you're ever going to see. You cannot do it in an RV. You cannot do it in a big jacked up dually truck. You cannot do it pulling a camper. It's gotta be four-wheel drive vehicles, bikes, people hike it. But you are quite literally on the ridge of the Great Smoky Mountains. And it is gorgeous. I have done chunks of it, but never fully through. My parents have done it fully through. They highly recommend it. So, from Chilhowie, there is a stop here on the Foothills Parkway called Look Rock. That is a tower that you can climb, and they also have like a little, break picnic area kind of thing. And then you can continue taking the Foothills Parkway all the way north of Townsend and into Ware Valley. There is also a part of the Foothills Parkway out here. I think this one might be referred to as the Tail of the Dragon, but that might actually be just the regular Foothills Parkway. But there's also the Foothills Parkway here that goes from Cosby to exit 443 that is maintained by the park despite being in Cherokee National Forest. So yeah. Let's take a look back at the far east side. Let me get some more water. On the far east side, you can take the Foothills Parkway, or you can take 240, or you can take 32, right along that ridge right there that goes in between the Cherokee National Forest and Great Smoky Mountains National Park boundary. And you can come across just south of 40 is Big Creek. There's a campground, a rest spot, and like I pointed out earlier, mounted camera room. So this road continues for quite a while down the eastern side of the park and eventually dumps you out in Cataloochee. So Cataloochee Creek is located here, but Cataloochee, the city, is located here, or town, camping area, that kind of spot. And there's a couple roads that can take you there, either 32, which turns into park maintained after Big Creek, or you can take Cove Creek Road if you're coming in from the Asheville direction, or Pisgah National Forest. But either way, beautiful location right over here. And south of it, I'm not entirely sure how you get to it, but you also have the Appalachian Highlands Science Learning Center. That's very interesting. I feel like I need to look that up. But yeah. Just because there's a lot to cover, I don't think I'll be covering the details for some of these bigger parks like this, especially when they're really well known. Not like the, day 1, day 2 things, what you need to know. So yeah. It is a very beautiful place, but it is still, very busy. So, thank you all for joining me today. I hope you liked today's video, and I will see you next week. Bye.